But as we head into picks and bans for games number 2, I'm expecting Luminosity to kind of shift their attention around a little bit. Focusing on Benji that hard was not really necessarily the best way to go about it.
I suppose. I still understand where Luminosity's coming from. Even with all the attention spent to Benji, Scary D still had a difficult time. By no means was that the end of the game. Verizial really came into play. I think Luminosity, especially understanding that eUnited have a first pick, ban Susano.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Just like that, making the necessary adjustments. Verizial had an outstanding performance, like you said before, finding the last 2 kills for himself at the end of the game, setting up everybody else before himself.
Easily player of the game for me. It's not an official accolade, but if that Susano and a Verizial ran the game for eUnited and allowed them to find themselves so nicely up ahead above Luminosity. eUnited sticking to their nemesis Terra bans. Luminosity going to take Fafnir out of the hands of Polar Bear Mike, which leads the first selection for eUnited. I honestly have no clue.
The way United's playing
Osiris?
recently, it just doesn't.
Sol.
It's too hard to predict. Between Bologna and Osiris being up, it makes sense as to why United is holding off on those 2 picks. Benji can honestly play anything, so they could let Luminosity go for either of those 2 gods and allow Scary D to see if he can make a comeback.
And that's really the power, again, understanding eUnited, understanding their strengths. Listen, they understand that they have the upper hand in that short lane. Let Scary D take his selection, whether the god is strong in the meta or not. We'll hope that our solo leader can find an answer to it.
Sol being first pick for Chaos here. It did a lot of work here to follow up from Verizial's aggression. Osiris Khepri, though, nice little fine balance between offensive and defensive measures.
Jeff Hindler really going to make use of those long-range defensive options that Khepri has, while also looking for some looking for initiation by way of the abduct, as we said, that nice balance. But eUnited looking to finish their first round of the drafting phase. Sol here, already selected, likely to be in the mid lane.
It's going to be a great performance here from Chaos if he can just wait patiently for Verizial to set things up. Benji prioritizing this Amaterasu very early in the draft. The way he executed it in the late game, he just was farming and chilling, honestly. He let the action come to him. Both the junglers were in his lane. He was like, all right, I guess we're boxing now.
Yeah, I mean, Luminosity last time had to ban 4 players out in order for the Amaterasu pick to be settled on. Now eUnited just select it right away. Serket going to be the choice of jungler here for Verizial as well. Different story. On the Susano, it was all about setup. Serket, he's going to look for kills.
I love the way the whole North American, European SPL has such different metas within their draft. Serket was prioritized in the AI set earlier on today, whereas this one, teams just kind of don't care about her necessarily. They still think about her all the time in the draft, like they're thinking about every other jungler, but it's just interesting to see, and very refreshing also to see it just kind of go in and out of rotation.
There's your Scylla.
That's a Scylla ban.
Sick 'em. There's your Scylla. Scylla's going to be banned out from the mid lane on Luminosity, excuse me. Ares also banned out as Luminosity spending a lot of attention to that support role. The last ban coming out from Luminosity, taking their time here, will also be charged towards Polar Bear Mike with the Ganesh.
Ares makes a lot of sense here because of that cripple. You really want to make sure that abduct from Khepri is always going to be fluid, non-interruptible, but Kurnos can suffer the same exact fate, so it makes sense without having that CC immune ultimate that you take away Ares. Ganesha didn't have the great performance from Luminosity, but they really respect the god in general, which is why they take it away from eUnited.
eUnited respecting Mask here, taking the Naja out of the equation, not going to allow him to have that early game prowess. Luminosity here, one more pick, will go the way of Thoth, again allowing Baskin to set himself up.
Despite his lack of positioning, I would say, in that game, his damage was surely evident. Whenever he sees a play, his eyes will just bulge up and he's like, all right, this is my time to go.
Yep.
And he's made some plays happen in that last game, especially at the very end when he sacrificed his life for those 2 members out of eUnited.
Last selections for eUnited. Bologna will be the choice for the jungle, most likely. Amaterasu is already in the hands of Benji. actually, with the Circuit.
PBM.
Polar Bear Mike likely to play the Bologna with support. Amaterasu support.
PBM is going to be playing that Amaterasu. This is something that Jigs does, PBM does, some supports from Europe does every now and then, not too often on that region. But in North America, they really like this Amaterasu support because of the mobility that she really provides. And she doesn't need these offensive items because of the base damage from her ultimate is good enough.
And with the Amaterasu, one thing that you are lacking, as Ravana is the jungler of choice for Luminosity, is guaranteed crowd control. So you're looking out for the ultimate, obviously, but that's it. So usually we see the Amaterasu support paired up with a Guardian in the short lane. This time, just the Bologna. Will it be enough? We'll take a look at the battlefield. eUnited Luminosity, Game 2.
The problem with going to Guardian here to balance out the Amaterasu support is you're going to be against an Osiris. And despite Scary D not having his best performance in the last game, his Osiris is still very scary and must be respected.
Absolutely.
This is what I do in Ranked all the time.
What?
Right here, what Benji's doing. He's just proxying between the Tier 2 and the Phoenix. And from here on out, because he was able to buy very quickly, he sneaks his way between the middle solo lane and just positions himself to clear out that wave. And then he can look for a buff invade because he doesn't have to worry about clearing the wave from his tower.
Very smart stuff, just extremely efficient. And he's even going to be able to wrap around the backside. Mask is in trouble, nice dash forward. He is level 2, waiting for the cooldown on that bludgeon. Doesn't have it right away. Not enough to take down Mask. Baskin can't find the stun because he's only level 1. And eUnited off to an interesting start here, featuring Benji's oddball proxy.
Week after week after week in the SPL, North America, Europe, doesn't matter. The strategies from these teams just keep evolving non-stop here. I'm really surprised that he didn't fully commit to the speed buff to start things off, but it made sense that he really tried to go for that gank initially, even forcing out the purification beads out of Mask. And for those 2 minutes here before he hits level 5, this Ravana needs to be very mindful about his positioning.
Yeah, and eUnited, I mean, they fight about 100 gold up because of that play, but really it's about the pressure. And Luminosity here, they're going to be pushed out a little bit here in the duo lane, or the solo lane, as really joins up with Benji. But there's power on the Jeff Hindla. Trouble. Frenzy's popped in both directions, and the support could be in trouble. But Panda Cat can't find the basics past the body blocks out of Barracuda.
You know you're not having a good time when your Hunter has to absorb the in-hands from your support. Jeff Hindla really tried to get in position to throw out his Rising Dawn to clear the wave, but eUnited were not having any of that. They really wanted to punish him for his aggressive positioning.
Even still, there's the rest of the speed buff. And we saw Benji leave there for Mask. Mask says thank you and heads on to the blue. Polar Bear Mike, lower than Jeff Hindla was beforehand, so they do bite back.
I like the fact that Benji didn't go for the selfish option to secure the speed buff for himself, but honestly, by stripping away the speed buff, that's guaranteed play, whereas going for the level 2 gank there by getting the little ogres there, it's not always guaranteed, especially considering Luminosity. They were just in the nick of time under their tower, but still a great demonstration of the true power from early game strategies. You don't always necessarily need the best players in the world, the best team composition in the world. If you have strategies that can bamboozle your opponents like that and keep them guessing, then you're going to win almost every single time.
I mean, it goes all the way back to Sun Tzu, right? The element surprise is one of the most important factors when it comes to battle. And yeah, I mean, that wraparound play once upon a time was a guaranteed first blood. Teams adapted and adjusted. Now, what was important about that one is Jeff Hindla's in trouble again, stunned out by the support Amaterasu. But one more time, Panda Cat not able to catch up. What's important here, Anatoly, is that the response was delayed. The wraparound, you wait for it, it's not there. All right, it's not coming. Well, since Benji took time in the jungle, it did come later.
They were kind of expecting it because of his MIA call, but either way, still surviving from that early game invade. Luminosity, they find their own speed buff because Benji left it wide open. The left-hand side, these red buffs are now respawning here, and with all this aggression from PBM and Panda Cat onto Jeff Hindla, I wouldn't be surprised if there's going to be some rotation from Virizial to try to really capitalize on this Capri.
Well, now that he's level 6, certainly has that ultimate available, plus some extra damage on that Death Bane. We'll see if that's the direction he opts to go in. Panda Cat will be the one picking up the red buff here. Hi, and we'll get the game back to you in just a moment. And there it is. Panda Cat still on the left side looking for the oracles. And it's going to be Jeff Hindler looking to zone out Panda away from the neutral objective, and he'll do so. Luminosity has the vision, just like we do, on the game.
A lot of vision here in the battleground of the gods indeed, as Benji's still doing a good job controlling that soul lane. ScaryD does have to back without any sort of mana, finishing off that ninja tabby, and now he might miss out on quite a bit of experience as Benji's right there to push that under the tower.
Still trouble over there in the mid lane, but looks like that'll be tended to no problem. And Luminosity in general, as a unit, they're gonna back right here. And this is the luxury that we have as commentators. We know that Luminosity and spectators, Luminosity's back at base. If eUnited had known, they go for the Gold Fury, they get it free 100%. No chance in hell that Luminosity stops them, but they don't have that information.
No, not quite yet, but they could use deductive reasoning depending on if they have their Sherlock Holmes hat on, but either way, taking the safe option. There's always that calculated risk, and I'm all about that calculated risk. If I see a Gold Fury that's like, this is about a 75% success rate, I'm going for it 100% of the time.
By the time eUnited can say, hey, is anybody in your lane? No? Nobody's in my lane either. Well, where are they? By the time that conversation happens, Luminosity's already on their way back to lane. So, yes, there is some take the chance and you'll have the communication that nobody's in lane, but by the time that's actually communicated, Luminosity are back in their spot. Very, very neat play coming out from LG, just quickly getting back to lane.
Barracuda still taking a lot of damage against Panda Cat. Both of these hunters with the red buff here, going for a different option in terms of their boot selection. Warrior Tabby for Panda Cat, really trying to get extra power, whereas Barracuda is all about that attack speed. He really wants to try to get more synergy with his shifting of the seasons, whether it's the lifesteal, the extra penetration, the power, or the chill slow effect.
The chill slow effect.
Just chill.
Very chill.
Yeah, like, you know, you just gotta be like, yo, dog, just chill.
Rizziel looping back over to the mid lane, but he will be unfortunately upset to see that nobody's really there. Polar Bear Mike getting grabbed. Big damage out of the support, but still no first blood as he's able to dash away on that Amaterasu. Tons of mobility on her. Not just with the movement speed, but Benji gets caught slipping, and ScaryD punishes the proxy farm. Mask in trouble as well. Rizziel could be in worse. Gets taken out by the dot from Jeff Hindler. Mask still here despite being low. Has the Khepri shield on him, but he's gonna get saved right at the last moment. Bad timing coming out from PBM. Just a hair too early on that Khepri shield.
Flirting with danger there. I thought Mask was almost about to even dive the tier 1 tower just to guarantee the revive. And then on the right-hand side, diving past the tier 1 solo tower, trying to proxy it in front of ScaryD's face, who has the ultimate there. No respect out of Benji.
And you know what? With the way game 1 went and the way he got away with the proxy farm earlier, sure, go for it. But big ups to ScaryD for punishing it. He said, look, man, fool me once, etc. Fool me twice, absolutely not. Shame on you. I'll take care of that situation. Not gonna fool me there at all. Taking him out right behind the tower for first blood, and then finding a follow-up kill is the rest of his team in mid lane for kill number 2.
And this time Rizziel is here to make the rotation on the right side, because ScaryD, he doesn't have his ultimate, whereas Benji didn't use it in his little skirmish against the Osiris. So I wouldn't be surprised if after this blue buff, Rizziel just sits in the soul lane for an extra 20 seconds.
We'll see if that's the case or not, and it won't be. Okay, fine, it will be.
He's thinking about it. He wants it. He's gonna hide. He's gonna ambush.
Yeah, he's waiting for it. He's waiting for, well, that's kind of far away, so he's gonna opt just to go back to the farm and head towards that mid wave, since Soul, honestly, Chaos took a while getting out of base.
Yeah, ScaryD already having his ultimate back up anyway. It's not really worth that long of a commitment onto the Osiris, especially with all the damage reduction from his passive. And despite, obviously, Serket going through protections with her ultimate, you're still going to be able to mitigate it the way the Osiris passive works.
Damage reduction versus protections. Damage reduction actually does work against true damage. That's why you see, well, you don't really see it because of that, but Mark of the Vanguard would actually help out, believe it or not.
That's a big one.
So here we are very early on. Luminosity with the first start here, and despite their 2 kills, eUnited leading the game, just shy of 1,000 gold, give or take. And the Gold Fury going to be started by LG, looking to change that fact. Already down to half HP is the Gold Fury, and it's going to be leashed as Jeff Hindler finds the target. That is Panda Cat. There's an ultimate, turning him into the pig, and looking for him. Still, Aegis is good for the moment. and Mask makes it count after the fact. Panicat falls down for the first time, all set. Nice and early.
The save from Jeff Hilla. Baskin, though, still going to get caught. Banshee right around the corner. Nice ultimate from Chaos. Verizial here is as well, avenging their fallen brethren on Panicat.
2 dead for the price of 1. Panda trades out for 2 different players. Also, more importantly, stops the Luminosity Gold Fury. So eUnited continue leading by their 1,000 gold. Very small lead, but certainly worth noting given the fact that Luminosity seemingly has had the upper hand in this early game.
The damage from Chaos in that little engagement there. Just look at this team fight recap here. Now, it's not too much yet, but that 900 extra damage is all it really took. Not to mention, Scary D wasn't in position to make that rotation that he really needed to. Benji was just there at the right timing. You're seeing the difference of the teleport cooldowns, and that's the factor.
Right, that's one of the biggest deals when you're looking at solo laners and then looking for these Gold Fury plays is understanding the intricacies that are the solo lane timers on the teleport. Because you don't want to make the play call when the enemy can teleport and yours can't. Then it's a 4-on-5, almost guaranteed.
10 minutes into the game, Gold Fury still not being flirted with quite yet, as Luminosity are just going to grab the vision of those oracles here. I'm not really surprised as to why they're going to start to slow it down, pump the brakes after that last failed attempt. That kind of plays a toll on you mentally of like, oh man, we're going for the Gold Fury for so long, we try to bait him out, we got the first kill, but then we dropped 2 after the fact. Like, all right, let's just wait it out a little bit.
And that's what we'll see. That's what we'll see, honestly. Both sides could use some extra farm here. Look at both compositions. I'm obviously looking at the Amaterasu and the Soul, but which side do you think really goes later into this game?
I'm really looking at eUnited here. This Amaterasu alone is good enough to just skyrocket them to that late game form. We saw the mobility from Benji playing this Amaterasu in the last game when they were able to barely survive the initial engagement from Luminosity, waited out for like 5 seconds, and then re-engage at full force.
And that's exactly what they're going to be able to do over and over again with the composition that they built.
Whether or not it's Benji playing the Amaterasu or PBM, this one goddess alone just transitions so well from either solo or that support role. Doesn't need those physical power items because of the base damage from that ultimate. It's good enough to confirm a lot of kills, especially before that level 12 marker where a lot of these gods don't have the Aegises necessarily.
Gold Fury again started up by LG. This time more likely to be finished. There's the frenzy. It's been popped. Over the top comes the United, but it's not enough to snatch it away. Mask gets the last hit, earning it for Luminosity, but the team fight a different story. Jeff Hindla very low. Look at eUnited surging forward. Chaos on the left, Panda on the right, and it's a different kind of chaos all around as eUnited earns their 3rd kill, tying the game completely despite the fact that Luminosity grabbed the objective.
This is the same exact story as the beginning of the last game here, Tom. Luminosity, they get the goal here, but eUnited, they don't care because they find the kills after the fact. They get another miniature objective, which completely negates the goal here anyway, and they grab a little bit extra here. This Portal Demon being started. Benji trying to zone.
Mask still going to be stuck out there, and Benji successfully does his job. Fire Giant Jr. goes the direction of eUnited. Likely to trade out as Benji, but I'll take it.
I mean, the only objective left to go for it is Fire Giant, and to go for Fire Giant at the 13-minute mark here, coming up in 5 seconds, a little risky.
Yeah, solo laners kind of have that same mentality as a support where like sometimes you just gotta take one for the team. You're zoning everybody out away from the objective, and Benji's death there, Toli. I mean, as the official solo lane analyst, good, bad, who cares?
Who cares?
Exactly.
Honestly, like the respawn timer, level 13 Bologna, it's not really long enough to be a determining factor, but it did give Luminosity enough of a window to get this tower on the right, but only because Barracuda made this rotation.
Right.
Left-hand side, Panicat needs to be checked, and that's why Baskin's making this rotation.
And I love how Baskin's making the rotation. Verizial's 1 step ahead of him. He understands that that's likely where he's going to go, so he's playing it safe. Looking at the red buff, but realistically protecting his Hunter on the left-hand side. Barracuda Barracuda coming up the lane while the rest of eUnited deals with the Oracles. And Panicat gonna get this tower, but he's also gonna get smacked by the duo lane of Luminosity.
Oh, Wild Hunt coming now. Both Aegis and Beats being used. Girdle Frenzy means go, but it's Barracuda being pushed away by Verizio.
Baskin shows up as well, trying to avoid that is gonna be Panicat. Gets hit by the stun, but avoids the damage afterwards. Chaos and Verizio's presence is good enough. And Panicat is safe, taking the tier 1 tower, evening it out, and canceling out the 500 gold that Luminosity earned on the right side.
Great play from eUnited. They are always so objective-minded here. What a powerful team here. And like we were talking about before, making the right necessary adjustments between their last week's performance against Noble and Allegiance to now here against Luminosity. That's been always the dominant North America team in the SPL.
And there really is no surprise, honestly, in my mind, Anatoly. I think that looking at some of the members from eUnited can be haphazard to work with, but I think that Polar Bear Mike is exactly the type of personality that you need on this roster to make everything line up and really wind up copacetic. It just makes everything really come together, and that's why we're seeing this unit work together. What happened last week, Polar Bear Mike, again, exactly the type of personality to take that coach-like approach and just say, let's look at the tape. We got squashed. Next week, a bigger opponent. Let's turn tail on them and just destroy. And honestly, Toli, Luminosity are dancing, but eUnited one step ahead.
No matter how big of a troll PBM might be on Twitter, you can't deny his work ethic, whether it's on the battleground or studying the game outside words. He really likes to theorycraft a lot. He'll not only look at his role, but other players' role as well, and really try to min-max any possibility to allow his team to get in such successful positions to close games like this out.
Polar Bear Mike can be very passionate, and I think that's both a boon, and I think that's both a positive and a negative for him, but more so a positive. His passion really allows him to take the game as seriously as he does, and no troll. Polar Bear Mike, one of the better supports in the game, in my opinion. That, not his finest moment, using the ult to get out of the route.
I think I jinxed him, because I was just thinking, no, let me tell you why, because I was thinking in my head, like, the only bad moment I could think of PBM was when he gave ults with the purple buff. I'm like, and now he just ulted nothing.
That was a curious decision coming out from
You know
PBM.
what it was? He just wanted to be like a fan on them, right? He just wanted to...
Realistically, I think that with the route, he anticipated much more follow-up, when in actuality there was zero.
He just wanted to cool down Luminosity. They were just too hot.
Man, Toli. That's really, oh my God, I need to just take, I need to picture like a camera on you at all times. That's what production tried before. They tried to catch Toli when making one of these faces, but couldn't really nail it. Toli, such an emotive type person.
Giving you the smiles.
Can't deal with it. Luminosity having trouble dealing with eUnited here. 17 in, and eUnited looking for the flank around in the mid lane, going to be caught out by the solo laner, and because that eUnited turns tail and quickly retreats into the jungle. Luminosity starting the Gold Fury one more time.
It hasn't worked before in the past. Every time Luminosity try for it, whether it's this game or the last one, they're getting punished for it. And I think that it's time for them to just really start being the counter-engagers and look for some of the plays that eUnited are going to force.
Here's the thing, though. With Baskin, you should have the upper hand on the objectives.
But if you're going to use that final judgment on the Gold Fury, you're not going to have it for the combat phase.
Which is exactly what we've seen happen time and time again. Gold Fury started one more time by LG. Here comes Polar Bear Mike with the ultimate in hand still. Coming back up one more time. Benji's there. The frenzy's popped. I didn't expect this one to go all the way. Mask over the wall comes on to Benji. Thorns! Mask is in trouble. Saved by the Kepri. Almost killed himself.
Not able to get away this time,
See
though.
ya.
Great patience from Verizio. Just diving that backline onto Mask. Chaos barely surviving. Going into that theory of form, Jeff is able to duck away. And just like that, Luminosity, they overcommit again. And eUnited come out on top.
You have no chance to look for this Gold Fury Barracuda. Make your time. And Benji dashes forward. There's the Gold
Scary
Fury for
D.
eUnited
He doesn't
one more
have his
time.
ultimate. He's caught between a rock and a hard place. Getting a tether onto 4 members has so much damage reduction, but it's Benji diving the backline onto Barracuda.
Barracuda turning around looking for the boxing match. Benji likely to take that if The support of Scary D and Baskin didn't come wrapping around the right-hand side. eUnited win that exchange fantastically. It might be 4-4 in the kill column, but the gold tells a different tale. 4,000 in the lead for eUnited.
I can't believe Scary D just casually walked into 4 people and just walked out.
He's Osiris.
He just walked away.
He's Ogyrus, just walking in saying, I'm the guy.
He's the broken god.
I'm telling you, man. 1-0-1, not exactly his best game, but Osiris certainly a strong force. Luminosity sneak out that little portal demon. eUnited certainly not happy about that, looking for the kill onto JH. They're going to pick that one up. Brazil puts another one. 3-1-2 for the jungler. And now still continuing on. Baskin gets the stun. 2 shots, 3 shots of whatever. Scary D takes him down off of the assist from the mid lane. Brazil answers back, taking down the Hunter. And it's going to be the raging team fight. Scary D ults nothing, but Mask falls down to the hand of Chaos.
Panda Cat is being saved by his teammates. Chaos is able to bail his Hunter out. Supernova doing so much damage, but Scary D with the hot flail at the last moment. But 4 for 2, eUnited still on top.
Yeah, I mean, Luminosity do a good job of getting whatever they can hold and bringing it back to the register, but eUnited already clipped the coupons and snapped out everything from Luminosity's cart. Tier 2 tower next on the menu, and this one's going to go down nice and easy. 1,500 in the pocket for eUnited, now leading by 7,000.
I'm telling you, Tom, every single time Luminosity go for an objective, they just get punished for it. It doesn't matter if it's the Gold Fury or the Portal Demon. Despite securing that Portal Demon for Luminosity, they just can't get the better end of these team fights against eUnited. It's just Verizial getting in the right place at the right time, and Panda Cat is even being able to just hide in the middle between everybody, and that last clutch Aegis bought him so much time that Chaos got so much confirmed AoE damage between that Stellar Burst and Supernova.
Yeah, Verizial has been doing a great job here in this game as well. Only about 9,000 HP, damage, but all 9,000 of it has been very important. Game number 1, he sets up his teammates by throwing out the crowd control and allowing everybody to capitalize after the fact. What Verizial's doing here, waiting in the wings, you mentioned the patience, just allowing his team to bring it down. These aren't kill steals, they're actually kill secures, making sure nobody gets out because nobody escapes the Circat.
Going for even a different style here compared to his last game on Susano, where he went for a Gladiator Shield and other things as well. Going for a defensive option here, the Wingblade, Magai's Blessing here. We were talking about how defensive Panda Cat is here, but it seems that eUnited all across the board just want to be more resilient than every member from Luminosity.
You know, it's interesting. This is not the composition that I would build a Magi's that you would think a Magi's Blessing should be built into. Not a lot of hard CC. You have Jeff Hinla with the Abduct and Baskin with the Stun, and honestly, Jeff Hinla's going to be able to shred that Magi's Blessing. Brazil walking in on everything. Troublesome start for the jungler.
Taking a lot of damage, Baskin dashing on and diving the back on his Mask with his ultimate, but he could have bit off a little more than he could chew. PBM is trying to get something.
Chaos gets the kill on the Mask. Jeff Hinla's next, uses the ultimate on himself. Fight still continuing, and the Fire Giant has joined in, tossing rocks at Benji. Benji still on the tail of Barracuda. Flail comes down, so does the Hammer, and Benji, he's answered by Scary D. Beautiful control by Panda Cat, saves the life of Benji.
And PBM is diving the back on, keeping Baskin busy, while Jeff Hinla is pulling every other member from eUnited down to the south, just buying time. With Mask gone for that long, that was going to be a 4-on-5 for Luminosity that Jeff realized, like, okay, I'm just going to separate my respawn timer a little bit here to make it more difficult for the Fire Giant.
Scary D gets surprised on. He's going to still be fine, but Panda Cat with that permafrost saved the life of Benji.
Oh, absolutely.
Benji 2 shots away.
Absolutely. Panda Cat has just been on point with his positioning, his placement of that ice ring, and not only that, just a patience. Now, as a Scotty, you could honestly just do Fire Giant yourself at this stage of the game anyway, but maybe not at this point because his build doesn't have pure damage, but he realized that 2 of his members had to back to base and go heal up from the fountain, so he just positioned himself to catch somebody slipping.
Fire Giant still here, could be stolen, and it will be! Barracuda takes advantage and takes away the Fire Giant. Polar Bear Mike says, it don't matter, getting the kill, but Mask answers back, taking down the mid laner. 2, surrounded by 4, Polar Bear Mike up, down. There's gonna be the kill on the Mask, and 1 on the right side for Scary D if PBM can catch up. That's a big if. Different story for Baskin. Zigzag, we'll see you later. number 13 for eUnited, as Verizial earns his own number 6.
Nowhere to go for Basket, nowhere to go from Jeff Hill as he gets body blocked completely. 4 dead from Luminosity, despite Barracuda stealing away that Fire Giant. At what cost?
Oh my goodness, just gone. Luminosity steal a Fire Giant and eUnited just say, so? That's exactly what they do. Just, so? We'll fight you anyway. Panda Cat, so hard to kill. Again, going the defensive build with the Midgardian Mail into the Winged Blade. This time doesn't even have the additional cores of the Fafnir and the Shogun's Kursari. Not online just yet. It doesn't matter. Panda Cat still finds himself number 2 to his team, 3 overall on the player damage.
The longer you survive a team fight and survive these backline penetrators of the Osiris Raven, the more opportunities you get to do damage. And Barra is the hero that Luminosity needs.
Barracuda steals the Fire Giant. Barracuda steals the Gold Fury. eUnited say, so? They're still up 7,000 gold, 7684 to be absolutely precise here. And now the Portal Demon started up by Luminosity.
This is bad. I've seen this story before, Tom.
Luminosity have the control of the objective, finally. Leashed it out, half HP. Nice route, keeping Polar Bear Mike in place, but just for the moment. Portal Demon picked up one more time, 50%. Now pushed past. 25%, Barracuda sticking to it. Here comes Polar Bear Mike, ultimate engage. Portal Demon gonna be still taken care of and not dead just yet. Fight going on as Luminosity trying to deal with it. eUnited, Frenzy is popped. Portal Demon is releashed. And Benji in trouble on the back end, but Scary D all by himself, chased out. Nothing, nobody dead. Reset, Benji low.
Not quite yet, but it's going to be eUnited, though, securing themselves that Portal Demon. They are the victors of this team fight. Such an epic battle over just a Portal Demon with no one dying. This is 25 minutes in the game, and for no one to die here just goes to show how amazing both of these teams are at kiting and repositioning.
Very unfortunate stuff. Scary D did his job there. Now he has the Fire Giant as well. Scary D finally, I feel like, does his job. Game number 1, unfortunately, Scary D just didn't step up to the podium. Just didn't really do much, couldn't contest. Game number 2 here, Scary D still kind of quiet, but making a couple of better moves, some bonehead moves, but some strong moves. Here making a strong move still, not enough for his team. This looking good as he chases down Chaos on the front end. Good, might be able to get the kill. Polar Bear Mike gonna respond as Scary D just chewing away at this mid laner. 3 people surround him and send him in the other direction.
And now it's Benji doing the same thing on the opposite end, now regrouped with every single member. eUnited are trying to retreat, but a nice stellar burst, slowing everyone down.
It's a good fight for LG. Mask up and down on a Panda Cat. Scary D trying to zone out the Hunter. Nice save by Jeff Hindla, but it's all gonna go awry. Verizial finds the kill on the Barracuda. Scary D uses the ultimate to get away from PBM, but he will. Mask and Jeff Hindla cannot, on the other hand. 2 fall down, 17-7. Basket exiting out on the left-hand side. eUnited giving chase here to Oli. Basket with a long-range dash saves him for the moment.
So much mobility from eUnited between their wing blades, between the Amaterasu as well with the Aura. Just can't escape the eUnited clutches. Despite not having Fire Giant, they're still very dominant with their golden experience lead to win these team fights.
Benji backed before, had his teleport on cooldown. This time, not the case, allowing him and his team to push up, looking for the first Phoenix of the game. Down it goes at 27 minutes. Bastion and Scary D trying to play defense, but just not enough. Luminosity trail by an even 10,000.
I thought that they were going to go for that Titan for a hot minute there, but with 2 members from Luminosity reviving here, without the Fire Giant on the side of eUnited, it's better to play it safe than sorry. That will respawn in 20 seconds, giving enough time for eUnited to back to base and then look for some of these aggressive sentry wards to spot Luminosity.
Yeah, Fire Giant likely to be eUnited's next play. They already showed us that doesn't matter who actually gets the Fire Giant. They're just looking for the team fight, and they'll win it whichever way it goes.
I've noticed whoever starts the objective first in this set just doesn't have a nice time. That's what I've noticed. Just let the other team start it first. We'll capitalize on it after.
We'll just steal it away, no problem. That's what we've been seeing so far. Trouble here. Luminosity trailing. Still want to get some sort of position around the Fire Giant. eUnited looking for positioning. Benji left, Verizial right. Verizial biding his time. In comes Benji along with Polar Bear Mike. They're going to initiate. Watch the wraparound from Panic Cat on the left-hand side. Verizio comes to the right-hand side, grabs Jeff Hindler. There's the frenzy. There goes Barracuda. Verizio gets the kill.
They're still going out as Jeff Hill is trying to survive. He saves Baskin for the moment, but sacrifices himself. Benji gets masked. Benji stuns out Baskin. Panda's getting more.
Game. That's game. eUnited gonna walk up the mid lane. Luminosity, no. The writing's on the wall. eUnited with a fantastic performance. I mean, absolutely phenomenal. Earned not just game 2, also game 1, giving them the 3 points.
Verizio, that's all I have to say. That hot Susanoo play in game number 1 and then taking it to the Circuit in game number 2, just always in the right place at the right time.
That's the type of Smite that I like to watch. It was heavy-handed on the side of Verizio and his team eUnited, but Luminosity never really quite completely gone out of it, but still very much a nice back and forth.
And just Panic Cat in general there, the way he built his items, it was just like so defensive here. Not something that you're normally used to seeing, especially out of him. Keep in mind, this is the player that would play Artemis with Blink.
I mean, this is the understanding that one person doesn't need to do all of the damage. Panda Cat and everybody kind of shared this. eUnited, once upon a time under the enemy banner and even beforehand, being led by quote-unquote General Payne, the whole deal about this team was that they were a real team's team. All 5 members equally matched, able to really do the heavy lifting. Well, you come through, a return to form, all 5 members doing the heavy lifting. Wonderful stuff. Again, shout-outs to Verizio. Nice plays in the jungle.
Sometimes it takes to get beaten to really start to bounce back, to climb up from a deficit here. I think the loss from both Noble and struggling against Allegiance really helped out eUnited in the long run here. Finding a win against Luminosity is quite an impressive feat.
I mean, it's easier said than done, but there are more mistakes and more things to fix when you're looking at tape that isn't really great to watch, right? When you have a win, sure, maybe you can clean things up, but when you lose the team fights, when you lose the objectives, when you lose the game, you can look back and say, all right, we have to fix A, we have to fix B, let's see. And that's exactly what eUnited do. They come after it and they bounce back after the loss to Noble, looking fantastic on a whole new page.
And just getting these 3 points are putting them closer to the top of the North American standings. And eUnited, with their new addition to PBM here, really is helping out the synergy of this roster.
Yeah, Polar Bear Mike, one of the bigger aspects of this team in Season 4. We actually have him on the line. Congratulations on your win, PBM. How you doing?
Thanks, I'm doing well. How about you guys?
Honestly, doing fantastic after watching that. We've made a lot of noise about the loss to Noble last week and then the performance out of LG. Internally, what was that? How was the thought process there after the loss to Noble?
Well, obviously we were super disappointed because we had huge leads in both of those games. You have to give credit to Noble for climbing back in those games, but we kind of felt like we shot ourselves in the foot, so getting the 2-0 on LG today is a huge, I guess, bounce back point.
Right. Without diving too deep into the playbook, because I feel like you guys have a lot there. I don't want to see your strategies, but what were some of the steps that you took to really bounce back from the Noble and find the victory over Luminosity here?
Pressing our buttons correctly and like beadsing in team fights so our carries don't die and just like protecting them. I picked both of the gods I played today with the Fafnir and the Amma. I just made sure that I turtled on Chaos and Panda and just let them carry the game. And then just, execution, that's pretty much it.
Here's a weird question, but I'm always curious how it actually works out. The positioning and the way that you guys approach the team fights by way of just your movement is so impressive. That last team fight really brought to you by Verizio and Panda Cat flanking around. Are these things that you guys practice, or is it just years of playing Smite, you know how to outflank the opposition?
We kind of just let Verizio do his thing. Sometimes it works for better or worse, and we just kind of trust him to do his thing, and then in that last team fight, we saw him flank around, so I just popped Frenzy and ulted, and then just everybody died.
So you were talking about turtling for Panic Cat in the backline here, and he went for a very defensive build here. I know you're like great theory crafter. Is this something that you helped him out of, or is this something that he worked on himself? How do you guys theory craft together?
No, I still think he's trolling with that build. I don't know if that's good at all. Like, I really can't defend that one. I don't know. It did make sense game 1 because I was Fafnir and I could give him a steroid, so like the defense made sense. In game 2, I don't know if he really needed it, but it's something he's been trying and I trust him with it, so it worked.
Yeah, I really like the interaction. We talked a lot about the interaction between the Fafnir and thought it was interesting. But one more before we let you go. This team has transformed. And, for you personally, this team's identity was based around Pain to Beyond. Sure, Chaos has been here along for the ride as well, but this was Pain's team. What was it like stepping into shoes like that?
It was actually a lot easier than you would think. I think that Pain and I are pretty similar in the way that we like to kind of take a coaching role almost and just kind of facilitate everyone else to do well. So when I came onto the team, it was mainly just letting Scream do his thing, and sometimes he picks Arachne, and sometimes he goes 10-1 on Circuit.
That's kind of just how it goes, and honestly, you can tell that's part of that coach mentality, letting your players kind of fly along with it, and the team flying along with it as well. Again, congratulations on your victory, player coach Polar Bear Mike. Any shout outs you have before we let you go?
Shout outs to the org, obviously. eUnited has been great to us. Shout outs to all my teammates and to you guys and all the fans.
Thank you very much. One more time, that's Mike, Polar Bear Mike, both the player, support, and I think the de facto captain and coach for this team. A lot of energy in that guy.
I forgot to ask him about that missed ultimate.
Oh, I'm glad
Missed
you did.
opportunity.
Missed opportunity on both ends. But again, fantastic performance by eUnited. Transformation of this team. What a pleasure it is to really watch them take on virtually anybody. Here winning the 2-0 over Luminosity. We have one more game coming at you. It's Energy versus Team Dignitas. Stay tuned. We'll be right back with that heavy hitter.
I try to see where my luck goes. I just don't know how it slips out. There must be some kind of black hole in this house. Every person could be you, though. A pretty guy with a halo. But who am I kidding, please now? I gotta realize that you have fallen down. So let's take my chances tonight. I gotta choose fire.